So welcome back to part 3 of our 2014 exclusive Scouting for Bricks LEGO event coverage. In this segment, we're going to be talking to Mike Warsaki, 1/6 scale action figure collector extraordinaire. This is exactly the reason why I was saying I like these local events as opposed to the giant expo events. You've got to talk to people. You never know who you're going to meet, and this is a perfect example. So no matter what kind of toy fair or toy exhibit or collector show you're going to, there's always going to be an action figure collector. And this gentleman, Mike Warsaki, he had a bunch of Legos on display for the Lego event, and then I noticed a 1/6 scale military figure. I asked him about it. Hey, what is this action figure here? Is this a DAM toys?
No, it's a G.I. Joe.
It's a 12-inch G.I. Joe.
I thought it was one of the 12-inch, you know, from overseas, the soldier ones, like DAM and...
It's a G.I. Joe.
Wow, that's cool.
Before you were real G.I. Joes.
Oh, no, I know.
World War I figures, World War II.
And next thing you know, we're talking, we're going into full interview mode. He apparently... This guy knows everything about 1/6 scale, not just, you know, what's out there and what's available, but also the history of the 1/6 scale, all the way from the G.I. Joe beginnings, in the 1960s, up to you know, through the 3.75 scale later on, and then the return in recent years to the 1/6 scale, like Sideshow and Hot Toys format. So let's take a listen. And if you want to give me your take on how you got into these, you said you started with the 12-inch ones.
Well, when I was a young lad, back in mid-60s, 1964, 65, G.I. Joe started coming out. At that time, it was all military, World War II type figures, and that continued up to the late 60s, early 70s. Then it flipped over to Adventure Team because of the war in Vietnam and everything else. And then that continued on for a while. And then it eventually petered out. I got back into it in '99. When my wife, who was on house arrest because she was pregnant with our twins,
I've been there,
on this newfangled thing called the internet, and she discovered that there was a G.I. Joe convention coming to the Washington, D.C. area in 1999.
So when she remembered that you were into it.
Oh, she knew that.
That's awesome.
Because, you know, we talked about it, but I didn't have anything displayed. They're all packaged up.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in the military. We were moving around. All that stuff was back in my brother's
But still,
house.
Support from the wife is major, major. When you talk to...
She regrets it now. If you see my basement, you would understand why.
Yeah.
So we got back into it. The boys were first convention. They were literally in 2 strollers being pushed around.
Oh, wow.
We've been to every convention now since 2000.
And this is G.I. Joe conventions or all action? Okay.
G.I. Joe convention. It's run by the G.I. Joe Collectors Club. You can find it online, G.I. Joe Collectors Club. It's in cooperation with Hasbro. And
oh, really?
What has happened is because Hasbro's not necessarily kept up with the 12-inch figure line, other collectors have branched off into the other companies.
That's what I wanted to ask you. So you go to a G.I. Joe convention, any of these, you're going to see all the stuff that we discussed. That's key. That's just so key.
Yeah, so it's 12. So there you'll find Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, excuse me, Dungeons and Dragons. Dragon. Yeah, Dragon. Dragons and DID, Hot Toys, Damn Toys, just a variety of them. Plus you'll find companies like Cotswold. Cotswold's been around probably as long as the G.I. Joe Collectors Club, not longer. They're out of Seattle area.
Oh wow, domestic. That's helpful.
And they have a long history, but they cater to the collector. They have individual kits. They can get you replicated pieces that are missed. Cotswold, you go online. A guy named Greg Brown is one of their big salesmen.
Greg Brown.
Greg Brown. You go online, you can find them.
What do you think of all this stuff coming out of Asia now? It freaks me out.
Well,
like
everything's out of Asia.
No, but I mean, like the stuff that we were talking about off camera a second ago, like the damn toys.
Well,
those guys are era accurate. Like their hands, they're wearing Gore-Tex gloves in the early '90s, and they're wearing mechanics gloves.
Dragon, they're taking their lead from Dragon.
It's serious. They know our stuff.
That's true, but here they're catering to a different crowd. Hasbro, and will tell you, and rightfully so, their G.I. Joe is a toy.
Yeah.
It's meant to be played with by children.
Yeah.
What the age demographic varies, and what the collectors are interested in accuracy. That's where Dragon comes in. Dragon led that. The reason Dragon led it is because they used to build models. They still are big modeling. So guys would build their models, paint them, build the dioramas, and Dragon decided that when G.I. Joe was coming back, they'd get into the game, and that's what really started that very accurate kind of articulation and equipment. 21st Century jumped into it for a while. They kind of came and went. Now you have companies like you mentioned, Dan Toys, DID, Hot Toys, and now, of course, part of it, and this is something Cotswold has tried to do, a lot of these companies will now go to the actual companies who make this for the real soldiers. Knightsbridge, Black Hawk.
That's what I wanted to know.
They go to there and they basically set it up so they get an actual kit, and then they miniaturize it down to 1/6 scale.
This is what I need to know. You like took the words out of my mouth. The whole thing I want to ask you is like, I sit around with my friends and family who are Marine Corps or former Marine Corps. Well, there's no former, there's retired.
That's correct.
And I'm like, okay, look at this. Yeah, look at this Damn Toys Marine or Damn Toys Navy SEAL. This is the gear that this guy's wearing. It looks like they went right into 511 magazine.
That's exactly
you know, like you'd have to sit in a barracks with a squadron, a group of Marines, and just chit chat to even know that they prefer mechanics gloves, or that they prefer this kind of 511 pants with the magazine pockets, and that's what's freaking me out. Like, how do they know this in Hong Kong?
Well, you know? Don't, because guys here are going there with the gear and saying, I want to copy this. That's what's happening. Greg Brown, for example, has worked with a couple companies that basically he went out and got sample sets and then turned them into CSM gear, for example.
That's what guys like me love, man.
511 actually had a 511 figure for a while. In fact, one of my PMCs I showed you basically is a complete 511 kit.
I'm gonna hunt it down when I get home.
Yeah.
So as you can see, this show had some great opportunities to meet people I wouldn't have met otherwise and learn a few new things. Lots of Legos to look at, lots of Star Wars Imperials running around. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to click on the links to see the other segments of the exclusive coverage on the Buried Egg channel of the 2014 Scouting for Bricks Lego show.
Voices still debate. Should